Welcome back to AprilAngst 2019, everyone. We thank you once again for joining us. You are about to watch the Philadelphia Hooligans take on the Mohawk Valley Quadfathers. I still believe the team name goes by the Quadfathers, but Mohawk Valley Roller Derby from the Mohawk Valley of New York. My name is Champ Unkind.
And I'm Beautiful Banshee. That's right. They are from Rome, New York.
Yeah, and they are also very close in the rankings here. We have the Quadfathers for Mohawk Valley at 12 and Penn, Jersey, the Philly Hooligans at number 11. So you literally couldn't be any closer than 1 point away. I think this will be the closest MRDA game of the tournament, but of course that just means the announcer's curse has now been activated.
That, of course, and that is just our personal opinions. But a pretty strong possibility of that being a reality. But let's meet the teams. So our host, well, actually our visiting team being Mohawk Valley, number 0101, Deb Crush, 10, Chapin. And that's Amanda Chapin. 1116, Pulio. 1213, Fuerza Brutal. 1618, Rufo. 187, Morticia Decay. 202, Defunk. 315, D-Shurs. 33, Unwired. 35, B-Shurs. 43, Aaron Chapin. 48, Oxenfree. 87, Stankus, and 96, Stever. They are in white today.
And because we're about to start, I will get to the Philadelphia Hooligans roster for our after this first jam. We've got Stankus and Uncle Dad on the jam line. First whistle sounds, and we are underway. Both trying to get through. Uncle Dad pass for Fuerza Brutal and is your first lead jammer of the game.
Still in the pack, that is Stankus, making his way around into turn 2, does break it. However, Uncle Dad on the scoring pass in the pack as it is in turn 2, calling it quickly before Stankus can get any points.
Yeah, very wisely there. He gets in the pack, basically passed everybody, got reabsorbed, but the hips did pass. It was very clear. The ref saw it, we saw it. You probably saw it at home, but then got reabsorbed, gets the 4, calls it off. First 4 for the Hooligans, a whopping 4-0 lead with 29 minutes, 15 seconds remaining in the first half.
In case you missed it, too, and you haven't subscribed to Penn Jersey Roller Derby's YouTube channel, make sure you do that, and you'll get a notification for every time we go live for the rest of AprilAngst 2019. And you can go back and watch anything you missed. But just like that, up the line, that is Numchuck taking lead straight up the inside line for Hooligans.
Yeah. I blinked for a second there, and I kind of missed him getting through, and suddenly he's lead jammer.
And Unwired on the track with the star, though, stashed in their hand, being held near the pivot line for Mohawk Valley.
Meanwhile, Numchuck picking up 4 of his own, his first 4, and the star is passed to Pulio. You might recognize Pulio. He used to be known as Fat Jammer. That's not an insult. He used to call himself that. It's okay.
I call him Fancy Jammer now, though, after yesterday's game when I was on the house.
He was confused when I called him Fat Pivot at one point. He was like, what? I'm like, you're wearing the stripe, dude. Like, that's
he went
accurate.
from J to P, man.
Yeah.
But 12 points unanswered for the Hooligans so far with 8 points on that last jam, so 12-0.
And so let's introduce the Hooligans really quick. From Philadelphia, the host league, number 0, Grassa, number 109, Cilantro, number 11, Numchuck, number 2, D. Morg, number 25, Uncle Dad, number 294, Trashman, number 4, Nurse Ratchet, number 40, Duke of Hearts, who is jamming at the moment, number 58, Schuler, number 6, Bruja, number 610, Hef, number 666, Soul Samurai, number 703, Smash, Ketchup, number 714, Salt in the Sweat, number 899, General SoFi, number 90, Betty Switch, number 99, Droog, and I'm sorry, Betty Switch is on there twice. Number 90, Betty Switch.
Wow. And
she's so good she's on there twice.
Kudos to you, Champ. You just gave the Micro Machine Man a run for his money.
You've clearly never been to RollerCon before. All right.
But back to the track. We had already said that Duke of Hearts is jamming for the Hooligans. His opposition is B-Shurs, but lead acquired at 32 seconds by Duke of Hearts. So there's a lot for Mohawk Valley defense. B-Shurs muscling it out up against Betty Switch in turn 3.
Good recovery there by General SoFine at the front of the line, but he does. B-Shurs go through. One of the things I love about watching B-Shurs is the more you hit him, the more he smiles.
Oh, yes.
It's like he just saw because he was smiling there. But now he's moving to the inside. Pass Grosso. I think he will. Yes, he will get the 4 points. And it's called, so Mohawk Valley does get on the board. 4-4 on the jam. These two teams located not too far apart from each other. I believe they did meet at the Mohawk Valley Cup last year. No, I'm sorry, they did not meet at Mohawk Valley Cup last year. I was thinking of New York Shock Exchange that played Mohawk
However,
Valley.
they met, I do believe, at the North American Qualifier.
Yes, that's
for
where
the
they met,
MRDA
yes.
last year.
Right you are, beautiful Banshee.
Oh, thank you. Yes. You know, shout out to Kent the politician
If
on
I don't
that
give,
one.
if I don't give at least one Ken shout out a game, there's something wrong.
And on track right now, that would be Chapin for Mohawk Valley with the star up against Uncle Dad. He's your uncle, he's your dad.
And he's your
up the
lead
outside
jammer.
line. And Julio off to the penalty box as pivot for Mohawk Valley, so pack advantage to the Hooligans.
Chapin doing some sideways skating. Maybe I wonder if he learned that from Soul Reaper on Harm City yesterday, but he fell down, so maybe not.
Tiny bit of inspiration to say, hey, I'm going to bust that out in a game.
Uncle Dad gets 3 points, calls it off. That's our first non-4-point pass. So congratulations, Uncle Dad, for breaking the monotony.
15-point lead for the Hooligans at this point.
25 under 26 minutes remaining. If
And
you want, yeah.
Oh, and yesterday, I was just thinking of this because of Grasso being out there as pivot. Yesterday, when coaching the She-Devils, the coaches for the She-Devils, who are members of Hooligans, are rocking the South Philly tuxedos. Numchuck picks up a cutting the track penalty.
So we have
off to the penalty box, and we have a lead. Stankus, not lead yet. There we go.
Yeah, Jank from Stank
Jam.
Farm takes the lead
That's my
jammer
favorite
position.
right
As
Insurance
Numchuck did go to the
jokes.
box. So it is our first power jam of the game. Yes, he is hideous. He is not wearing khakis though. I mean, he's actually a very fun player to watch and a very nice person. I've talked to him once or twice. Grasso also will head to the penalty box. Numchuck is standing up.
Pack in the back stretch, expanding into turn 3. Stankus able to wiggle his way around on the outside. 4 points up for Mohawk Valley.
Yeah, so Mohawk Valley will double their score after that pass.
Numchuck back on the track, meeting a brace 2 wall of Mohawk Valley blockers, but able to break through pretty quickly. This is the initial.
Yeah, remember he did go to the box, so now we got Stankus going through. Looks backwards, taps his hips, calls it off. He will get 4 on the board for Mohawk Valley. So now 19-12 after that 8-point jam, under 24.5 remaining in the first half. And don't forget, coming up next, it's a weird thing, we only got 2 more games left in this tournament. We got Downriver versus the She-Devils, and then following it up, our final game, Nashville and Forest City. So we thank you once again for joining us. We're going to have Unwired and Juke of Hearts with the Stars.
And currently, Hooligans starting without their pivot as Grasso standing in the penalty box, and Mohawk Valley down by 1 as well.
It'll be Chapin.
Slow start after the whistle.
Hooligans back to full strength after Grasso re-enters the pack. I hear whistles, and it's D-Morg that will head to the pack for a forearm. As Juke of Hearts escapes and picks up lead jammer for the Hooligans.
Quick regrouping in turn 1. We've got Julio attempting to break up the links for Unwired, but has to let them do it on their own. Cycled back. Unwired going to the line, stashing the star.
Juke of Hearts through the pack, 4 points on the board for the jam. Nurse Ratchet really working that outside line with Schuler on the assist. Oh, that could not feel good. Juke of Hearts takes a hip's gonna play it safe, call it off.
Multiplayer block, assessed to Defunk at jam's end. So Mohawk Valley starting the next jam without their pivot, but also down to just 2 blockers.
Yeah, that did not look like it felt good, but it's wise decision to call it off.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like someone fell on his stomach and pushed their hand into it.
That probably knocked the wind out of Juke of Hearts and hopefully recovers quickly.
I like to call it unnecessary CPR.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Or an unnecessary Heimlich maneuver, actually, more than that. We
Ooh.
like that, yeah. So it's Uncle Dad. It's B. Shears with the Stars. Uncle Dad to the outside.
And a hip from Forrest Brutal does take out Uncle Dad, forcing a cutting the track penalty. So power jam in favor of B-Shares and Mohawk Valley.
Betty Switch at the front, getting some help from D-Morg, trying to work that outside line, just take time off the clock to allow Uncle Dad to come back. Good job there as Shears has to recycle himself behind that 4-wall of Philly. There are 2 Mohawk Valley blockers in the box now going right up against that wall. And like I said, if you look at if you can see his face, he's going to start smiling.
Oh, of course. But Hooligans really hoping to take perfect advantage of this penalty.
Maybe,
well, let's see.
I don't know. He's not smiling. I don't know. I don't want to go up against Betty Switch either. She is tough as nails.
She's tough.
And yeah, I do not want to go up against her. So
Uncle Dad back at the back of the pack, getting caught up in a full line of Mohawk Valley blockers. B-Shares up and behind Uncle Dad.
Yeah, it looks like he was giving him a little boost there for a moment.
Perhaps. But it was a boost to the inside line.
Sending D-Shears into B-Shears. Yeah, that's kind of confusing, but not really. They're brothers. They've met before. It's okay.
Yeah,
This is,
you know.
Yeah. So Uncle Dad working that inside line, trying to just get the initial done. But Mohawk Valley not letting him through. B-Shears through. 4 points on the board, Mohawk Valley. Very hard fought 4 points.
Indeed. And Uncle Dad driven to the infield and down. A forearm call on D. Morg. So a 4-2 pack at current for Mohawk.
Doing some defensive jamming there, just jumping in the pack. Now breaking free, and let's see if he can get past this Mohawk pack.
So
I don't think so.
Down and out.
Not today.
The General is so fine, working with Grasso to draw back B-Shares.
Betty Switch coming out of the box, giving some assist. Jam comes to a conclusion. Another 4 points on the board. It'll be 25-20 for the next jam. Looks like Chapin will be putting on the start, going up against Numchuck. One starting in the box for the Hooligans. That is D. Morg. And he's actually one of our refs out there. It is his birthday tomorrow. That would be Tim the ref. So happy birthday to Tim the ref.
Happy birthday, Tim.
Tomorrow.
But
some of us won't be here tomorrow.
Happy future birthday
happy,
tomorrow.
Yes,
but
exactly.
Noah is in the present. Numchuck as lead jammer for Hooligans. Meanwhile, we see a big drawback happening from Nurse Ratchet on Chapin. And a quick cover to knock Chapin back out and draw back into turn 4.
Yeah, it looks like he got hit a little hard there. You see he was kind of tapping his ear. But it's a full contact sport. That does happen.
We know 4 points for Numchuck.
Now back in the pack, skipping over the pack. Does look like he gets through. Yes, he does, cleanly, and draws a penalty. No, I'm sorry, that's D. Morg with the penalty. So 4 points on the board. Now 8 total for the Hooligans on the jam.
Nurse Ratchet and not Grasso.
That'd be Soulless Samurai.
Sorry, Soulless Samurai.
There's a lot of guys with red beards on the team. It throws me off too.
And alliterative names.
Sometimes I swear it's like Team Norway or something. A lot of Vikings with. Or something like that. Or maybe Irish. Is Irish with red? I don't know. Just a lot of people with red hair.
Okay, sure.
A lot of people that could be Timmy Twitch.
But
I don't know.
Timmy Twitch isn't out there.
No, Timmy Twitch can't grow a beard. No, he can grow the little.
He has a goatee.
He's got the goatee, but I can't imagine Timmy with a full beard.
Are you in a competition with Timmy Twitch on the facial hair?
No, no. Nobody compete with him with his actual hair because
I know he's got fabulous hair.
He does.
Hair game on point.
He used to take off his helmet and have it. I'd be like, what are you doing?
That's impressive. I don't know. I think if you were to touch his hair, it's just not going to move.
No, it doesn't.
But you know who is working to move something? That is Duke of Hearts up against that wall of Mohawk Valley blockers. 202 defunct off to the penalty box.
It is Stankus with the start for Mohawk.
Pushing up front against a brace from Betty Switch. Grasso and General so fine, but over the apex. Little fancy feet. Lead for Stankus. Not far behind Duke of Hearts. Full speed ahead in the pack.
Yeah, Duke of Hearts about maybe 10, 20, 15 feet behind. I don't know. I have a ruler.
An eighth of a track. Yes.
Proper length. Good. That was absolutely right.
I ended up realizing yesterday, I was like, it's not a quarter. Oh, duh. Half of a quarter is an eighth. Yes. All of the math. And Bobby Narco drilling it into me this morning when we were on house. All of the math during the course of the game.
That sounds difficult. All right.
First scoreless jam in the game, and
yes.
We're already past the first quarter, almost halfway into the first period.
Yeah, 37-20. Once again, I mean, I expected this to be a close game. They are only 1 point away in the rankings. Mohawk Valley 12, Philadelphia at 11. So it's going to be Uncle Dad and Unwired as your jammers for now our 10th jam of the game. Uncle Dad at the front, both looking through. And it looks like Uncle Dad gets lead, now doing some defensive jamming. Unwired will be in the front. Uncle Dad giving chase. Let's see what he does. We might get back-to-back scoreless jams here. Uncle Dad not afraid to do some defensive jamming, but just going to play it safe and call it off.
And Champ, I just got some intel from Potomac Ripper, our fantastic producer, just confirming that there is a 4-jammer rotation going on for Mohawk Valley, 3-jammer rotation for the Hooligans, and both teams are sticking to it pretty strictly. So no deviations as of yet. Sometimes this changes as the game goes on, but
I do expect that to change, as we have not seen Cilantro jam yet.
Right, but yesterday was a tough day on Cilantro.
That was.
But kudos to him because he powered through. B-Shares versus Numchuck off the line. And, of course, if you're just joining us, we have Mohawk Valley Roller Derby in white and Philadelphia Hooligans in black. A lead acquired by Numchuck of the Hooligans and a whirling and twirling tripod at the front of the pack from the Hooligans, but Grasso picking up a forearm call.
B-Shares working on Betty Switch, but able to get past her. Does complete the initial pass. Let's see what Numchuck does with B. Shears approaching the pack. Tap Sips calls it off just in time. He will get the 4 points to bring it up to 41-20, and that's the first scoring we've had in 3 jams. We've of course also like to thank our production manager guy here, Keith the Internet, because without the Internet we couldn't do this.
Keith is the Internet.
Why is he the Internet?
Yes.
Because he's just a series of tubes.
No, Keith is the force behind the stream this weekend here at AprilAngst 2019, and we are eternally grateful for the high-quality, free broadcast brought to all of you out in the Derbyverse. So thanks again for joining us.
A stream you don't have to pay an outrageous amount for it that actually works.
Yeah. Pretty
good
sweet.
job. Good job, Keith.
And speaking of good jobs, we have Duke of Hearts out there jamming, picking up a lead at 21 seconds into the jam, facing off against Shapen, who ends up passing the star to Defunct, the pivot on Mohawk Valley.
Duke of Hearts quickly into the pack, pushes Trash Man out of the way. Whew. So I guess he took out the trash and then picked up 4 points and called it off.
And a 25-point lead now for Hooligans, 45-20, heading into Jam 13. And there he is. It's Silly.
It's
Cilantro taking the jammer line for the first time. So as you predicted, a quick change in that rotation.
Curse of the announcer, reversed.
I don't think that's a curse. That was more of a gift.
Yeah. You're welcome, everyone.
And Stankus, his opposition with Mohawk Valley.
Yeah, and also here we have not seen, as Cilantro Getsley jammer, we haven't seen Deb Crush jam yet in this game.
No,
she did struggle a little bit in that Golden State game, so maybe they're trying to reevaluate what they, where to go. This is her, I believe, her first couple games playing MRDA this weekend.
Welcome to MRDA, Deb Crush.
And Jake Stankus going to head to the penalty box. So, power jam in favor of Ferry. Where's a Brutal with a big hit?
And it was a cutting the track penalty on Stankus that allows this power jam. No penalty kill for Mohawk Valley as Cilantro busts through on the inside line for 4.
Yeah, Pulio was on that inside line. Looked like he was about to get him, but some good help work, some good teamwork by his teammates neutralized that block and let Cilantro through. Now he gets hit by Fuerza Brutal again, forced the inside, going to recycle back behind the jam line.
It's almost a tractor-trailer sweep that's going on with Betty Switch and then one of her fellow defenders. And this last time as offense was General Sofine, but they doubled up and just cleared the inside.
Yeah, now General Sofine playing offensive, do some offensive blocking there. Gets pushed to the inside, going to have to recycle. But again, Cilantro is in control here. He is the lead, and he's already got 4 points on the board. I assume he's picked up a few more.
Stankus is back, coming around the outside, looking to bust past Grasso and Droog, but they're able to sweep out in the back stretch, take him back.
Yeah, Stankus is still looking for that initial pass.
Now, the efforts of Pulio, Deb Crush, and number 1618, Rufo from Mohawk Valley working on Cilantro. But Silly playing it smart.
Smart Silly.
Taking a little juke and then some space, but Deb Crush on him right at turn 4.
He does get the 4 points, though. So it does add to the lead, but it was a hard-fought 4 points there. Bringing it up to 53-20 as we approach that 12-minute mark in the first half.
But, yeah, 33 points.
Absolutely. This is okay. Maybe it's not as close as I thought it was going to be, but still plenty of time here for Mohawk Valley. And still a lot of good derby action on the track with Unwired and Uncle Dad donning the stars. Currently one blocker in the box for both teams, Droog and I believe that's Fuerza Brutal. So to the inside, Uncle Dad able to stay in. Sometimes I wonder how he stays in because he's so tall that I think he's going to lean and fall in. But instead he just like snaps right back and goes straight, and you're like, oh, that's really awesome. And just like that, this time on the outside going backwards like Ricky Bobby winning a race to pick up 4 points.
Well, going fast is fun. but almost, I can't think of the name of the little like figure, but you remember like those little, I don't want to say dolls, but more like a little figure that was on a block that you would press the bottom of and it would collapse and then get back up. I think of this as Uncle Dad with how he shifts forward and backwards and snaps back up. I don't know. I can't think of the name of it.
I don't know what you're talking about.
If you know what I'm talking about, because, my words totally failed me there, feel free to pitch in on the chat and let us know.
Do you have a picture we can show? No, we don't have that technology yet.
No,
okay.
But 7 points from the Hooligans on the last jam brings them to 60, bolstering their lead to 40 points over Mohawk Valley's 20.
Yeah, so 60 to 20, 7 points in a row, or 7 points on that jam. Philly has been on a consecutive scoring run.
Okay. Thank you. So we've had 7 consecutive scoreless jams for Mohawk Valley.
So now with 11:10 remaining in the first half, first timeout taken here, this time by the Hooligans, and we would love to thank some of our sponsors, including...
Well, of course, we've got 808 Roller Skates, skater-owned, operated, and loved. 808 Roller Skate has provided gear, instruction, and amusement to roller derby and non-derby skaters alike for almost 10 years now. Hijinks is the owner of 808 Roller Skate and has skated all over the world, bringing gear and maintenance wherever he goes. They strive to provide quality and custom gear to anyone walking through their doors or up to their table. Name brands, expert service, custom builds, and everything else you need for top performance are all found at 808 Roller Skate. Check them out on Facebook or at 808rollerskate.com. And supporting Penn Jersey Roller Derby for almost 10 years now. All right, we're getting back to the track. It appears the timeout is reaching conclusion.
So our production manager, Keith, used the internet to find exactly that toy that Banshee was talking about. I now know what she's talking about, but I didn't catch what it was called, but I do know what she's talking about.
But the snapback.
Yes, I know exactly, yes.
Okay.
Let's call it the snapback toy thingy.
That's what we're going to call it.
All right.
Snapback toy thing.
And speaking of, well, whatever, it's nunchuck jamming.
Well, that could be.
I couldn't figure out a good segue.
Getting whacked with a nunchuck. So
I knew that segue was only going to get me in trouble, so I decided to abort very early.
Well, it's okay. I already used a Napoleon Dynamite reference yesterday that perhaps nunchuck has additional skills such as bow hunting skills, and I did it again. But lead to his credit, and B shares out there pushing past Betty Switch, or at least trying. Yep, she has to let him go in the back stretch.
Yes, she does. So Numchuck going to pick up his 4 points, call it off. So another 4, and that would I believe that makes it 8 jams now, scoreless for Mohawk Valley.
Indeed.
8 out of 15 have been scoreless for Mohawk Valley. So we'll have Juke of Hearts, and it looks like B Shears putting on the star. No, not B Shears. B Shears just yet. That would be Stankus.
12 out of the 15 jams have been scoreless for Mohawk Valley.
We also have to remember one thing about the difference between today and yesterday for Philadelphia is that Nurse Ratchet is in this game, and that is just a huge, huge addition to the team. He is one of those heart and soul players, and as you see him right now working on Stankus, you see exactly what they were missing.
Well, and both teams have had a few shifts. Now, mind you, Mohawk Valley played one game yesterday, though there were 2 players who were not on the track with them. That was Deb Crush and Morty. So Deb Crush and Morty are now on the roster, and, it does change the element.
Yeah, well, Nurse Ratchet's heading to the penalty box. Once you say something nice about somebody, every time.
Well, Stankus drawn back all the way to the edge of the back stretch, and still in the pack against D. Morg, being recycled by Schuler. No, maybe not. Yep. Staying on his tippy toes on the line.
Whoa!
Successful, staying in bounds and in play. However, Duke of Hearts coming around on a scoring pass.
Yeah, Duke of Hearts.
Total of 4.
Duke of Hearts got in there really quick and just had to put on some moves to get through there. It was not easy. I thought he might jump the apex for a moment, but he didn't.
Right, and Duke of Hearts was effectively communicating with his bench, watching for the clock to come down on Nurse Ratchet's penalty in order to release him.
So 4-2 on that jam. First score in 9 first score of 9 jams.
9, yep.
For Mohawk Valley. So now 68-22 as we're about to hit the 8.5-minute mark. Nurse Ratchet getting a little clarification for what he did. And he's going to go back to the bench, but one player for Mohawk Valley currently in the penalty box.
Teams quickly shifting position at jam start or right before the whistle. Mohawk getting in front, but Uncle Dad able to maneuver around, quickly securing lead. And Unwired fighting up against Betty Switch. They're taken out and drawn back into turn 1, while Uncle Dad coming around, hoping to clear the pack and add points to the tally.
Yeah, Uncle Dad looked like he did get it past a couple of them, but did get pushed out, so of course he has to recycle. Now on the outside, able to stand about just like we were talking about.
Yes.
Snapping right back in there, and this time to the inside, stays in bounds. And, he should just go by Gumby or something, because, I don't think he has bones. I think it's just all rubber. Now on the inside, tiptoeing untouched for another 4 points.
Really just sort of okay, I'm going to step around,
It looked like they saw him, but they just couldn't move, and he was like, da-dum, bye.
Stever released from the penalty box, so full staff on the track. And Switch and Grasso sweeping Unwired to the infield, though they have the star stashed at the front of the pack. A terrible twosome, able to hold Unwired to burn a few seconds.
Uncle Dad coming into the pack, trying to break it apart. Oxenfree and Defunk at the front now. Everybody recycling in front, and looks like he's waiting.
Oh,
and he calls it off.
There was a preload of that call off really quick, like Uncle Dad patiently waiting.
Wait for it. So that is our highest scoring jam of the game. 16 points for the Hooligans, now 84-22 as we're approaching the 6.5 minute mark. Numchuck putting on the start, going to be going up against Jake Stankus.
And 6.5 minutes remaining in the first period. Jam 18.
Can't believe we're 18 jams into it. Wow.
I know. It's on. Jammers released.
Yeah, pack sliding back towards the jam line. One in the box for both teams to start off. And Numchuck at the front looking for room. Where's a Brutal in front. Now everyone else recycling in front of him.
Bishers was waiting to catch his fellow blockers in order to do a brace, but then does the one-on-one.
Yeah, Numchuck just too stable. He went at him full power, tried to push him, and Numchuck just did not move. Maybe moved his toe stops a little bit of an inch, but just came right back, getting that lead jammer. Now on a scoring pass, right past Defunk for 4 points.
Numchuck calling it with Stankus right behind him.
Yeah, he was like, oh, hello there. I'm going to call it off.
And meanwhile, Bishers was off to the penalty box, so a 43 pack advantage as we head into our next jam.
This is a good chance that this is a preview for something we will see at the North American qualifiers this year, unless one of these teams, wins and gets into the automatic qualifier. But I do predict that both these teams will get to at least the North American qualifier this season.
I'm not surprised, and that will be hosted by Mohawk Valley Roller Derby.
Someone has a little bit of an advantage there.
In Rome, New York.
And it's a beautiful venue. They had Mohawk Valley Mohawk Valley Cup there. Yeah, it's
I'll
a great
be in that venue next weekend for Siege of Central New York, hosted by CNY. So it's it'll be a nice visit because I plan to be there for Mohawk Valley this year too.
Absolutely.
But back to the track, Cilantro wearing the star for the Hooligans. And let's see what's going on here. Oh, Chapin picks up a cutting the track penalty, so he'll have a seat. Power jam in favor of Hooligans in general. So fine, also having a sit in the penalty box.
Well, just as Chapin sat down, Cilantro calls it off, so it looks like we will have close to, maybe not the full 30 seconds, but close to the 30 seconds of the power start. So an opportunity now for Juke of Hearts maybe to pass the century mark because they are pretty close, 92-22. Again, Mohawk Valley being held scoreless. Of course, it's easier to hold the team scoreless when their jammer is in the penalty box.
Most definitely.
Makes it helps it just a little bit.
Just a slight advantage as long as you play it smart.
Teensy-weensy a little bit.
And Mohawk Valley has not acquired lead status for the past 10 jams. And I think between that and the penalties, it's really starting to paint the picture for those of us watching and seeing how the scoreboard has really played out with that 70-point lead by Hooligans.
So there was a little bit of some confusion there. Cilantro did get a penalty at the end, so both jammers did start in the box, but only a couple seconds because there were two jammers in the box.
Exactly.
And a whistle with no jammers on the track is just boring. We got rid of slow derby, or at least we tried to, okay?
Deb Crush having a seat in the penalty box. General Sofine being released. So now a 43 pack advantage for Hooligans.
Cilantro playing it patient there, waiting for reinforcements. General SoFi be like, dude, I gotcha. But the blockers be like, no, you don't. Cilantro on the outside, going to recycle, thanks to B. Shears and his brother D. Shears helping out.
Nurse Ratchet and Schuler working the O, trying to help out Cilantro, but Fuerza Brutal able to sweep him to the infield. So both jammers trying to muddle their way through the pack.
Yeah, nobody has gotten through yet.
And right up against B. Shears, Cilantro. Oh, a cutting the track penalty assessed to Chapin. And so power jam opportunity presented to the Hooligans.
Good spin move there by Cilantro, hitting the juke stick as if he was playing Madden.
Lead, and it took,
it took about, what, a minute 25?
And a half,
yeah.
A little over a minute and a half, yeah.
Yeah, that was not easy. Good defense there by both teams. As Cilantro approaching the pack, getting low. He's a smaller jammer, so he does have the ability to get behind his blockers, maybe hide a little bit.
Oh, okay. And
making sure his friend's okay there.
Checking up on the competition. It's good. And B. Shears with a smile. So
B. Shears is like, I like that.
Yeah. We like to hit people. That's why we play derby, for those of us who are into it.
B. Shears doesn't care who he's hitting, even if it's the floor. He just wants to hit something. It's going to be Uncle Dad with the star. I don't know. It looks like Chapin is still standing in the box.
Flying helmet covers. Oh, for pivots. Okay, a little bit of a change here. So Stankus at the front of the pack, but they let Uncle Dad go.
So, yeah, Chapin gets back out there. It looks like the power start lasted only about a second or two. But before he was even done, Uncle Dad was already through the pack. Uncle Dad approaching. Looked like I thought he may have tried to jump the apex there for a moment, but instead he's going to go up the middle, play it safe.
And just as I suspected, immediately passing the start of Stankus, I had that thought in my head as soon as I saw Stankus with the pivot stripe.
Uncle Dad gets past 3, going to pick up 3 and call it off. So a little bit of a challenge here hitting that century mark, but getting pretty close. Will be about 98, is now 98-22 as we have a timeout with 1 minute 17 seconds remaining in the first half. I believe an official review has been called.
And we'll get details on that for you, of course, and report as soon as they are available. But special thanks to Mean Cat Roller Derby Apparel. Much like Penn Jersey Roller Derby, Mean Cat is skater owned and operated, and this weekend we've had Mean Cat in the house to put custom vinyl on almost anything you can think of. You should definitely check out Mean Cat on Facebook because they've got shirts, bags, denim vests, all sorts of great stuff, so you can swag it up with Mean Cat Roller Derby Apparel, and thanks again to them.
And if you're like, hey, I want to buy something from Mean Cat, but I'm not at AprilAngst this weekend, I believe she'll also be at Wheels of Steel in Pittsburgh coming up and Summer Affair in Akron.
Excellent.
So, and that's in August. So you still got other opportunities to get some Mean Cat Roller Derby apparel. She travels all over. Those just happen to be 2 of the tournaments I know that she will be at.
Excellent. And I don't know about you, Champ, but I keep catching wafts of the scent of delicious food coming from the food trucks that are outside the building here.
If you're not sure about the Derby, you should come for the food. Trust me.
It's too bad there's not smell-o-vision with regard to the food. We don't mean regarding the gear.
Let me ask the internet if we can do that. The internet says no.
No, internet says no.
The internet didn't need to say no. He just gave me a look.
We were talking about smell-o-vision.
He didn't
hear
us.
Not for the track. We meant for the food trucks.
Probably better that he wasn't
now
paying attention to me.
He's like, oh, okay, yeah, no, not going to happen. No one has.
Most people are probably listening with the sound or watching with the sound off anyway. I don't know how you listen with the sound off, but maybe watching with the sound off.
Oh.
Yeah, so it is an official review here called by the Hooligans. Once again, we only have 2 more games coming up after this. We do have Downriver versus the She Devils, the other part of the host league. She Devils, it is a MRDA and WFTDA league. And then you have Nashville versus Forest City to finish it off tonight at 6 p.m. And then if you are in the Philadelphia area and you're like, oh, I wasn't able to make it for the games, but I would like to see everybody come to Franklin's and join us for the after party if you're in the area. Why not? It's fun. It's a good bar, good place, good food. I personally enjoy it. And I'm sure there will be a lot of dancing because if you've never been to a Penn Jersey after party, oh, wow, you should.
Well, and the live music's usually pretty sweet. If
Absolutely.
not a band, then there's usually a DJ at Franklin's. It is fun. And from what I understand, you have bestowed a challenge upon the announcer crew
Yes,
to
the
make you
announcers must
proud.
win. The announcers must win because last time I was there was only me and Timmy Twitch, and it's very hard to win when it's only you and Timmy Twitch. And that's not a dig at Timmy Twitch; it's just hard to win when there's two of you. But we have we have like a news team assemble here. Like we can
We
totally
really
handle
do.
this.
It's kind of great. It's like the epic fight in Anchorman, though we're all on the same side.
Exactly, and
Yeah.
and you know I don't have weapons hidden in my shirt or like any I don't have a hand
Where
grenade.
did
Sorry,
you get a trident?
I don't know.
But no,
Brick
so
killed a guy.
I did. No. Sorry, we had to slip in a little Anchorman. 'cause
I mean,
it's
what's
always
my
a good time.
name? Where does my
know.
name come from?
I know. But at least we don't have a telestrator this
No.
time.
And I
because
retired
if we-
Whammy years ago.
Exactly. Wise choice.
Yes. So we'll be Numchuck and Unwired on the jam line when we do get back.
Once the official review, once they figure it out, of course.
And I believe, I still see it flashing, so I'm not
Oh.
sure if they won yet.
We see the pivots playing the little hip stripe game there up front at the line with the toe.
Yeah,
And
so
thankfully everybody is smart enough to know, get away from that.
and the
but-
Hooligans did not win that challenge. They do
No.
lose the official review.
And Numchuck out there jamming, so we are seeing that familiar pairing with Unwired. Unwired, they are pressing on the defense at the front of the pack, cycled back closer behind the pivot line by Nurse Ratchet. And Numchuck powering through, but facing B-Shares, wears a brutal, but lead declared at 34 seconds.
Yeah, that goes to Numchuck. Hard-fought lead jammer for Numchuck. If he gets at least 2 points, they will pass the century mark before halftime. Looks like he does, but he hasn't escaped yet, so we haven't gotten the official score. Now at that front of the pack.
And Numchuck is 6 for 7 on lead percentage.
I don't know the actual percentage of that because math is hard, but that's still really good.
Exactly.
What's percentage is that? I don't know. Good.
Maths. We'll
Nurse-
find out.
Nurse Ratchet pulling back Unwired, who has the star in hand, as Numchuck gets through and gets 4 points.
To answer your question, 86%.
Got it.
And the star has been passed. Let's see, who do we have?
That would be the Fat Jammer, Pulio.
Oh, Pulio.
Or I guess
Okay.
this time he was the Fat Pivot. It's
Fancy
weird calling him
Jammer.
Fat Pivot.
Fancy
That is his
Jammer.
old name. He still goes by it sometimes for fun.
You
He's
can just say FJ. He's cool
Yeah.
with that.
he's pretty much cool with anything.
I know,
Like,
but I like, ever since yesterday, Fancy Jammer, FJ.
yeah, he is pretty fancy out there sometimes.
And so Brooke 100 points. Hooligans now sitting at 102 to Mohawk Valley's 22, so maintaining 80-point lead.
And it's halftime.
Yeah.
And maybe
so
we'll get to watch Pulio jam a little more. I love watching Pulio jam.
me too. He's a wrecking ball, and I love it.
And he's so fun to talk to about it after he does it because he's just such a nice but goofy guy. And like, I love talking about it when he jams. So we are going to go ahead and take a little break here. It is halftime. Score at the moment, 102-22. Hooligans safely on top, but we still do have a second half, and an 80-point scoring run is never out of the question.
And no one's ever safe. But we will know shortly when we return for the conclusion.
Stay
I'm Beautiful
tuned.
Banshee.
I'm Champ Unkind.
We'll be back soon.
Stay tuned. And we're back here at AprilAngst 2019. You're watching the third game of today between the Philadelphia Hooligans and the Mohawk Valley Quadfathers, Mohawk Valley Roller Derby. I'm Champ Unkind.
I'm Beautiful Banshee, and we are back, and I am so excited because this matchup has been fun so far, but also the point divide is interesting. To see the 80-point lead currently for Hooligans, one never knows what the future holds.
Yeah, anything can happen. And I mean, we are talking about the number 11 team versus the number 12 team. I personally expected this to be closer, of course. Sorry, Mohawk. That's the curse of the announcer. But you never know. Maybe Mohawk comes back here, goes on an 80-point scoring run. They get some momentum in their favor. I mean, Philly definitely had that momentum swing where they just kind of took over. Like, Mohawk kept close for the first couple jams. Philly took over. You can't say that it can't go the other way.
Well, also, too, with tournament play, we know in this case, very different story for each team today as far as their amount of time on the track. Yesterday, Philly had their couple of games, and this is their only game today.
Yeah, so we are. Yeah, and we'll see that. I mean, Mohawk had their last, or the last game yesterday as well.
Right, they had one.
And then the first game this morning, which is never easy.
Right. So, and that was definitely a physically aggressive game for them against Golden State Heat. But back to the game in progress, your jammers of note, Stankus in white for Mohawk Valley up against Uncle Dad.
Who almost got a track up but realized it. Wisely
smart.
Goes back. And now he gets lead jammer.
Philadelphia.
Yeah, now he gets it.
I know. It's like, okay, wait for it.
Wait for it. There we go.
Pack getting nice and close.
Whoa!
One, and a gorgeous leap from Uncle Dad.
Yeah, member of Team Canada. I wonder how many meters that was in the air. I don't know.
Good question.
Let's ask. I don't know. Somebody with a ruler.
Google the conversion later.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't even know that in feet, so we're fine.
Then he switched to the penalty box. Stankus does break the pack, but in the backstretch, Uncle Dad fighting it out on the inside line, caught it behind Defunk and D-Shers. Calls it off before any points coming from Stankus on that pass.
No, but Uncle Dad will get his 4.
A total of 8. 110 to 22, and just a minute in.
Hey, remember how I said Deb Crush, we haven't seen her jam yet? Well, now she is on the jam line, putting on the start, going up against Numchuck.
And Deb Crush, yesterday I threw it out on the mic how she wasn't here, but we are excited to see her rostered and skating today, along with Morty. Morty wasn't here yesterday either. And just because Deb is awesome, I need to shout out rollerderbymerch.com.
I do love watching her play.
Yes, and also she shares a big love for the Monster Energy drinks, which are in the house today for free with the Monster Mobile, so just something to know. But Deb working the line of Hooligans in front. Meanwhile, Numchuck in the back, Mohawk Valley taking him down. Midway between pivot and jammer lines.
That did not look like it felt good for Numchuck, who was like spun around to the ground, now getting at the front of the pack, but B. Shears pushes him to the outside and going to have to recycle. Just looks like we're going to finally get a lead jammer. We don't. 40 seconds into the jam, still nobody in the lead. Wait a minute. Curse to the announcer strikes again. It is Numchuck who is lead, but I think he's going to play it safe. It looked like he was fine on that. He just fell down going forward, but you know what? Play it safe. And he's lead now anyway, so even if the other jammer gets out, he can still call it off.
Exactly. The privilege is there, and that's all he needs.
Exactly. He has control. Going up against B. Shears, and B. Shears wins.
B. Shears, though, not able to string him back too far.
We got a power jam as Deb crushes now in the penalty box. So even though Numchuck this is not the scoring pass. He did get reabsorbed into the pack, and good hit there by Pulio. No, B. Shears.
A vicious shoulder. Just the effect of it. It didn't appear to be vicious power, but
it wasn't. It was not malicious. It was he went into. That was a legal hit.
Just the way it, set on Numchuck.
Yeah, I mean, he went right at B. Shears' shoulder, and B. Shears just reacted as you assume he would.
Exactly, and that is one powerful shoulder.
Yes, that is
more so what I meant.
That is a shoulder I do not want to ever go near. Like, I'm going to give 3 feet to that shoulder at all times, no matter where I am.
And Pack lining up for Jam 3 of the second period, taking some space near the pivot line, and Duke of Hearts with the power start.
Yeah, so he's going to have an opportunity here. Moving to the inside, Betty Switch did clear the inside, but that Mohawk Valley pack reforming quickly. Now Betty Switch heading to the penalty box. Duke of Hearts going down, getting back up. Looking for room. A lot of penalties being tossed around here to both teams.
And Deb Crush coming up through the back stretch. Does take down Grasso, but able to just get past Duke of Hearts. And now a power jam for Deb Crush and Mohawk Valley due to a cutting the track penalty assessed to Duke of Hearts.
And she is going to hit that just as Duke of Hearts sits in the box. Only 2 blockers out there for both teams. As you probably can see, a lot of penalties just being thrown around there. A lot of confusion, a lot of words. I mean, I don't think they could hear each other for a moment there.
And Potomac Ripper filling me in, telling me it will be the first 2-minute jam of the second period, second of the entire game. Deb Crush hitting the floor.
Yeah, very few power jams in this game.
Very few.
Deb Crush getting low, looking for him. When she gets low, it's just like watching a hawk, like closing on its prey.
It's true. And Deb's incredibly strong in addition to that low center of gravity.
She is.
Which that powerhouse that she is, and quite smart, able to avoid the cut. Drugoff to the penalty box as Grasso is released.
Duke of Hearts is back out there. He does have the star in hand. There is no pivot. Oh, wait, yeah, there is. There's Grasso, and it looks like he was trying to hand it off, and will he hand it off? Yes, he does, behind the back.
But
now up the middle, going straight into Fuerza Brutal. Looking for room to the outside, and there he goes for the initial pass.
Betty Switch drove out Deb Crush in turn 3, strung her back all the way to the start of the back stretch. And Deb working at it again, but does achieve 4 points on the pass.
That's the first 4 points of the second half for Mohawk Valley. Only 8 points so far, though, for Philly in the second half. So the defense recovering here in the first 6 minutes of the second half of this game. We're going to have Unwired and Uncle Dad with the Stars. 1 blocker in the box for both teams. There was just so many penalties being thrown out there in that jam. It's good to see that only 1 is in the box for each team at this point. Because I hate watching it when there's like only 2 blockers out there. It makes it so like, okay, what's going to happen now? And not in the fun way.
It's too intense for your own good. But back to the track, we have Uncle Dad fighting it out with the hip around B-Shares, but not enough to take down Uncle Dad. And jammer aggression as Uncle Dad puts himself right in front of Unwired.
Well, he is in control, so I mean, if he feels unsafe here, but due to the pack position, I think Uncle Dad's going to try to hit a few and call it off. That's exactly what he does.
Yep.
He does get the 1. He does sneak 1 point in there.
And as far as our first period of the game, I just wanted to point out because we're seeing, a little less scoring so far in period 2. But the high scorers for each team, for the Hooligans, Numchuck had picked up 36 in period 1, Uncle Dad 33 points, and for Mohawk Valley, B-Shares 12 and Stankus 10 points. So you're seeing it's basically a 3-to-1 ratio for Hooligans over Mohawk Valley. And Numchuck back at it.
Wow, he went to the outside on the toe stops. There was at least 4 steps there right on that line. Stays in bounds. Picks up lead jam for the Hooligans. Now approaching the pack. Trying to get some help from Smash Ketchum. Has to recycle after a hit from Morticia DK. Getting pushed in. Now 1 to beat. Where's the Brutal getting past her? But he gets a track cut. So we're going to go the full 2 minutes on the jam. Chapin with an opportunity, but Grasso in his way.
And I know that this is something that keeps happening where we'll mention something and then the opposite happens. But prior to Numchuck going to the box, this was the 18th lead in a row for the Hooligans.
Don't act like you're not impressed.
Exactly.
And there goes Chapin through the pack. Again, we will not have a lead jammer as Numchuck picked it up before he went to the box. Now he is back out there, so both jammers will be able to score points. I don't know if Numchuck got any retroactive points, but he got sent to the box. And now he's going to go back for a forearm, so a 2-for-1 bargain in favor of Mohawk Valley. As Fuerza Brutal will be sent to the box for Mohawk Valley, so that makes it a little bit tougher for them, but they still got a jammer out there.
Chapin coming on up, slowly but surely. B-Shares giving a little bit of ever so forceful, and sweeping Betty Switch out of the way. 4 points from Mohawk Valley, taking them to 30. Grasso being released from the penalty box, so we'll have pivot back on track. Betty Switch sweeping out Chapin, but it was a no penalty because Betty Switch had hit the ground.
Still did slow him down and still took a point off the board.
Numchuck returns, so there's a bit of a pileup. 2 points for the Hooligans.
But it's okay. Everybody's okay. 2 more points. So
An official timeout.
7-2 for the score on that jam in favor of Mohawk Valley, bringing it up to 113-33 as we are at 20:55 remaining in the second half of our third game of the second day of AprilAngst 2019.
So many layers.
A lot of numbers.
A lot of numbers layered.
I didn't even practice that, kind of.
You just fancy then.
I sometimes can think of things. The brain just says, hey, say this.
Okay.
And yeah, that's pretty much how it goes. I'm like, all right. So, yeah, once again, coming up next, don't forget we have 2 more WFTDA games. This is the final MRDA game of the tournament. 4 o'clock, we have Downriver Derby taking on the Penn Jersey She-Devils, the part of the host league. And at 6 p.m., our final game, Nashville versus Forest City. And, again, if you are in the Philly area and want to just come hang out, say hello to everybody, please come on down. There's still a couple games left and a great after party at Franklin's. If you've never partied with Penn Jersey, you probably have never partied before. And if you like to party, well, come on down.
We'd love
Drink
to
some
see you.
water with us.
Yes, water with barley and hops, or water with bubbles, as I like.
Yeah, we went to dinner last night, the announcers, and Banshee orders this giant pitcher of just soda water. And I'm sure everybody else in the bar is like, wow, she's crazy. But she was just staying hydrated.
Well, soda water with a bunch of lime. That's how I roll. I'm a big Polar Seltzer fan. I know I can't get that in a bar.
It was the fact that you got a picture of it, though. I was like, whoa.
No. So I asked for a pitcher, and most of the time, they always bring me a glass. And I just say, no, bring me a straw. This became a thing after skating a scrimmage a couple of years ago, and I'll just do that. And this way, I don't waste the server's time. It's efficient.
Yes, absolutely.
I don't need a refill on a water. It's more worthy of them to refill your beer.
Speaking of refills, we are back on the track. It is Jake Stankus versus Duke of Hearts. Duke of Hearts now moving to the inside. Stankus going up against D-Morg on the outside. Does not get pushed out. D-Morg thought he did. I did not look from our angle that he did.
It was a fingertip that went out of bounds. Oh yes, the hand was down. So it is a cutting the track penalty assessed to Stankus. So power jam for Duke of Hearts and the Hooligans.
And Mohawk Valley's entire box is filled with 2 blockers. So this is the toughest, one of the 2 toughest scenarios in roller derby. The other tough one is if you only have 1 blocker out there.
And a swarm of Hooligans playing. It appears that Stankus was waved back from the penalty box. So I'm sure there may be a review as a result. Oh, they did overturn the penalty, as I thought, because of just 1 hand down. But 4 points up on Duke of Hearts nonetheless.
And he'll get 1 more point to finish it off, bringing it up to 5 on the jam. It will be 118-33 with 19, as we approach 19 and a half minutes remaining in this game. Deb Crush, Uncle Dad have the stars on their helmets. Saying hello, how are you doing to each other? Some smiles, which is always good to see during a game, especially, as games go on. Sometimes they get a little more intense. The hits get a little harder. Everybody gets a little more tired. But it's always good to see the jammers smiling at each other and saying, hey, how you doing?
Talk about the contrast of tall and small. It just happened to be the pairing of Uncle Dad jamming up against Deb Crush, but Deb Crush is off to the penalty box. I do believe it was a low block. I didn't see that hand signal clearly, but Uncle Dad working his way through the pack. B-Shares on the inside line. Uncle Dad driven to the inside in turn 2. And chaos being created in the backstretch by Mohawk Valley.
Uncle Dad.
Specifically Defunk and B-Shares. And we know B-Shares never shies away from backwards blocking and a pop of the shoulder.
High block on Uncle Dad. So 1-2 jammer switcheroo. Deb Crush was already standing, so it will be at least 20 seconds in the box for Uncle Dad, and we're going to go the full 2 minutes.
Betty Switch going to the box for a pack penalty destruction. And Deb Crush around the outside, able to make the initial.
Yeah, had to get past General Sofine there. That was not easy.
No, it was not. Right on those edges. And Uncle Dad just released right as Deb Crush comes through, putting 4 points up for Mohawk Valley.
as Uncle Dad escapes the box, escapes the pack. That's his initial pass. General Sofine will head to the penalty box for Philly. Betty Switch already standing, so she'll be released in just a few moments. Deb Crush with another 4 points on the board for Mohawk. Uncle Dad moving to the inside, looking for room, tiptoes. Oh, he goes out of, going back in, playing it safe. Good idea. And
illegal contact penalty on B shares.
Yep, gets the track cut too. Yeah, I'm not sure why he did that, because he looked like, okay, I don't know, and then he just looked at the ref, and she's like, I'm not going to tell you.
Right, because that's coaching.
Exactly.
And they don't do that. And Deb Crush still putting in work. This is third time around the track, so a total of 12 points. Unless that last pass was 16, we'll see.
Well, that is the highest scoring jam for Mohawk Valley. It looked like Uncle Dad was trying to look like he was about to go in and look at the ref to see if she was going to blow the whistle.
Right.
But she noticed that he was doing that.
Right.
And was like, I'm not even going to play that game. Once he went back in, whistle was blown, he goes to the box.
It was a 12-2 jam in favor of Mohawk Valley, and the highest scoring jam for Mohawk Valley thus far. So 45 for Mohawk Valley Roller Derby, 121 for Hooligans, and we do have an official timeout.
Yeah, it looks like verbal assault calling for the official timeout. We might find out what that's for. We might not. If I was a betting man, I'd have no money.
Well, I hear there's a casino nearby.
Well, I'm not a betting man, but I do roller derby stuff, so I don't have money anyway.
You know.
Roller derby, the sport you pay for.
But you know what? We all have a great time.
Yes, and fun is our currency. I'm currently at like €3.
Yes.
It's like 5,000 Canadian or something. I don't know. The jokes don't change, kids.
A little bit of loonies and toonies there. Okay.
So they might be discussing that penalty on Uncle Dad. He looks patiently like, please let me go.
Okay. Right. So Deb Crush, I do believe, was the one who broke the lead jam.
Hooligans had 19 lead jams in a row until Deb Crush came along.
Yeah. Broke that lead jammer streak.
She just had to ruin it for Philly. But good for her.
She's not sorry.
No, she does not care.
No, it's totally worth it for every one of those points put up on the board for Mohawk Valley.
Depending on who you're rooting for.
Oh, no, absolutely.
So it looks like they're going to reverse that call, that it's going to be a no pass, no penalty, instead of a track cut on Uncle Dad. Which I think is what Uncle Dad thought it was going to be. So that's only his second penalty of the game. But it looks like Numchuck will go in as the jammer. He'll be going up against Unwired. They've jammed a few times. Clock is still stopped. 121 to 45, 16:54 remaining. And there we go.
Speculation.
Well, there's the whistle to get back, but it was a reversed call.
Reversed call.
No pass, no penalty on Uncle Dad.
Great.
So that is Numchuck back in there now. As Numchuck to the inside, or sorry, the outside, and he will very, very, very quickly, in his usual fashion, get lead jammer. He is 3 for 3 for lead jammers in this half.
Unwired pushing up on the Hooligans defense. Let's see how they get out. Oh, not too far behind Numchuck, though. Numchuck already picking up 4 points, so a lap behind on the scoring.
Numchuck over the apex and calling it off, picking up that fast four just in time.
So a total of 8 for Numchuck, taking the Hooligans to 129 and 0 points for Unwired. So 45 is where Mohawk Valley will stay. About 16 minutes remaining in the game.
And it's going to be Juke of Hearts and Chapin on the jam line. Nobody currently occupying the penalty box. No, wait, I lied. Smash catch him. No, never mind. He's going back to the bench. Sorry, Smash.
Sorry, I was distracted by a comment about fight or flight coming from the house mic.
Well, I don't know if he was fighting. I think both from Numchuck there. It was fighting and flighting.
Yes. Hey, but the flying was fun.
I don't know if he got clearance for takeoff, but it worked.
And Grasso pivot for the Hooligans off to the penalty box. Chapin working past Betty Switch.
And Betty Switch effectively blocking him to the outside, going to push him back into turn one. Juke of Hearts now at the front against that four wall, which is just not moving.
Oh.
because it was a multiplayer block.
And that was against Stever, white 9-6.
And now an insubordination, so he'll get 2.
2. Yep.
Take your penalty, move on, folks. Duke of Hearts able to stay on his toe stops and pick up lead jammer. Not easy, but you see that athleticism with these Philly jammers. It's a very different set of jammers from what we saw at their last games last year, where they have more of these power jammers. Now they're using more of these finesse, speed, wiggly little guys who will just fight their way through your pack.
And a straightaway jump for Duke of Hearts picked up 4 points, although someone calling cutting the track cut penalty. Yes, I do see that on Duke of Hearts, so he has a seat in the box.
Chapin just getting back out there as Duke of Hearts goes out there, so now an opportunity for Mohawk Valley, but it will still go the full 2 minutes. There's always a but.
Yeah, there is. All of the butts on
All
the
the
track.
butts. In Derby.
Not to be mistaken for the Buds Hole, the location we are in here at AprilAngst. Okay.
And Chapin at the front looking for room against Betty Switch. Going up against Betty Switch and making sure she's okay.
Yeah.
With that hit, because that did not look fun.
That was a strong shoulder block.
I don't know if I've ever seen a jammer do that.
Working a hip catch and sweep Duke of Hearts, but he's able to work around it, picking up 4 points.
And that's going to be the end of the jam. It reaches its natural conclusion. 4 more points for Mohawk Valley. No more points for Philly, so 4-4 on the jam. 133-49, approaching 13.5 remaining in the second half. So Uncle Dad's going to have the star. Looks like Stankus will also have a star. Currently 2 hooligans in the penalty box. That would be Soul Samurai and Grasso.
The 2 hooligans on track. We've got Schuler and Nurse Ratchet. Immediately blocking Stankus.
Not easy.
No.
Looks like Ratchet and Schuler are trying to just wall him up into his own pack.
Uncle Dad cycled back as well, but both jammers trying to figure it out.
Grasso now back out there to help, giving chase. Let's see if he can stop Jake Stankus, and he does not. Stankus is through, lead jammer for Mohawk Valley. But there goes Uncle Dad, about a track length behind, or half track length behind, excuse me.
And we're noticing something where the hooligans are trying to play it smart and not just go straight aggression, which, you know, Mohawk Valley pushing those buttons, getting a bit more aggressive, which nothing wrong with that. But hooligans at the command of Nurse Ratchet really pulling it together, getting away from them, so taking that ability away.
And it's not, you know, and I think that's part of what they were missing yesterday. It was not just his ability to play, but also his leadership out there. Nurse Ratchet, a longtime leader of the hooligans, now having it back. You can see the impact it's having on the whole team, and especially the lines that he is in.
Yes, and it was brought to my attention by Potomac Ripper that was the first lead for Mohawk Valley in 22 jams, and it was Stankus' 3rd lead of the game.
So now we got Numchuck and Deb Crush. Numchuck getting pushed too far to the inside by B. Shears. Deb Crush pushing that entire pack all the way forward of Trashman and Betty Switch at the front, and it is Deb Crush through. That's 2 consecutive now for Mohawk Valley. That's the first time they've had it twice in a row during the entire game.
Back-to-back leads. And
especially against Numchuck, because he's gotten it so many times. But now he'll get a forearm, making it a little bit easier for Deb Crush.
And truly a testament to the power of Deb Crush when she was pushing through that initial. But now she gets to do it all over again.
Yeah, she literally pushed 3 people all the way down the track.
Well, you know, she might lift some weights here and there, just a little, some cross training.
She's pretty tough.
Yes, she is. And,
pretty sure she pulls Mack trucks in her spare time.
Well, she is a fitness professional, so she does her thing.
Yes, she is.
Those 4 points, and now going at it one more time, getting some O from her team, and going around the outside, picking up some more.
Around the outside for another 4.
I know, I didn't want to do it, but thank you for that.
One of us has to. It's the rule.
Although I will say it's much better when Holly says it, because she's got the lovely accent, and it makes it sound so much more classy. But Numchuck up against B-Shears, going for the shoulder, able to use that momentum, propel forward.
Yeah, he was so close to the inside, but he was able to stay in. And you see B-Shears like, you know, I respect him for that.
I can respect that.
You can see that look of respect on his face when he saw how Numchuck just stayed in and gave him that, all right, buddy, that's good, smile.
And Zeb Crush, after that 12-point jam, she is now the highest point scorer for Mohawk Valley.
Yeah, now 133 to 63. 10 minutes remaining in this game. Duke of Hearts unwired with the Stars. Currently nobody occupying the penalty box. So we are back on the track, and I think we are. Yes, we are. As Bobby Narco would say, don't let that lack of movement fool you.
Unwired going for the jammer aggression on Duke of Hearts, but then getting close. They are off to the penalty box. Did not catch the hand signal.
Oh, and right in his face, Stever using his entire body to just push out Duke of Hearts. Now Duke of Hearts going up against Fuerza Brutal, able to get through this time for lead jammer. But wow, that was a great hit by Stever. Like, it was an entire body hit, and it was very, very effective. I mean, Duke of Hearts went sideways, like up and sideways.
Yes. And Duke taken out just briefly by Fuerza Brutal, but able to use his footwork and prowess to get around for 4 more points.
Yeah, good blocking there by D-Morg, Bruja, Nurse Ratchet, and Schuler. Now coming back to the pack in behind his blockers, trying to look a little bit invisible, but they saw him. Now moving to the front, past the last blocker, Chapin, and he is through for another 4 points for Philly.
Unwired with the Star Stash coming around to the outside line, though. Jukes to the end, still fighting the defense from Philly. Let's see what's going on here. We got Julio returning to the track.
Giving now some chase to the jammer, but Duke of Hearts sees Unwired in front of him and calls it off.
12 points to the Hooligans unanswered, and Unwired has yet to score in this game, which is atypical.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
But that's wired, I guess.
Yeah. And 145 for Hooligans, 63 Mohawk Valley. Just over 8 minutes remain. We are heading into Jam 13 of the second period.
It's going to be Chapin and Uncle Dad on the jam line for what will be our 13th jam, of the game, or of the second half. Uncle Dad looking for room, going up against that 2-wall in front. Juke to the inside. Now he goes inside and picks up lead jammer.
Multiplayer block assessed to the Hooligans.
That would be Trash Man going to the penalty dump. As Uncle Dad goes up against Rufo, it's B. Shears once again going up against him. So I think he's going to play it safe. Looks like he's just waiting for the other jammer, and now he calls it off. Uncle Dad always with that, like, I'm going to wait for it to call it off.
Yeah, he's patient. And unfortunately, you see a lot of jammers, they'll get caught up in the panic of the moment. But
he
he's
stays
able
calm.
To pause.
I can't imagine Uncle Dad panicking. He's just so calm and quiet all the time.
It's very chill.
Very, very relaxed.
Well, you know, after all, he's Dad.
He is Dad, and he's uncle.
He's also uncle.
He's your uncle. He's your dad. It is going to be Numchuck with the star for the Hooligans going up against Stankus of Mohawk Valley. Both jammers in the pack. There's the whistle. One blocker in the box for both teams.
And Mohawk Valley is starting without their pivot, though.
Yeah, we are now past the under the 7-minute mark.
Ooh.
Numchuck, if you give him room, that's exactly what he's going to do. Get lead jammer, reverse ratchet, taking out 2 blockers in the process, making it that much easier.
And Stankus took a long slide, which is actually evident on the right side of his jersey, because the white, you can see the big streak of dust. Picks up a cutting the track penalty, so off to the box Stankus goes. Power jam in favor of Numchuck.
Well, at least he's not using Sharpie.
It's true. At least it's not Sharpie. That'll wash off.
Exactly. Numchuck gets pushed to the inside. Defunk with that hit. Now recycling gets back in. Schuler will head to the penalty box for Philadelphia.
It's a forearm.
We are 1 minute into this jam. Going up against 3, trying to pull that pack apart. Gonna have to recycle. He is going to just call it off after picking up 3 more, which will bring it up to 3 points on the jam. It'll be 151 to 63, as we are now under 6 minutes remaining in the game. Uncle Dad will put the star back on. It is a power start with Stankus in the penalty box. So that was a little bit of a present from Numchuck to Uncle Dad of, hey, I'm going to let you have a little bit of an easier start.
For you, my friend, a gift.
And
an official review.
Official review called by Mohawk Valley. probably going to ask for, guessing the jammer penalty.
But we will wait and see. All right, so while we wait for the results of this review, I just want to touch on that there will be an MVP chosen for the entire tournament. Teams are not choosing them by game here. So later on, right at the end of the final game, the MVP award ceremony will occur for MVP Jammer, Blocker, and overall team MVP. So we will keep you posted if that's going to be available on the stream. Otherwise, you can stay tuned on Penn Jersey Roller Derby's Facebook for an update on who the MVPs were. They were selected by the teams, so it was entirely their choices.
So don't blame us if they're wrong.
Well, you know, different tournaments,
Everyone's got different
selections made, but had nothing to do with the announcer crew.
Nope. But when it's an overall tournament pick, I think I
actually love the overall tournament
Yeah.
pick. There's nothing wrong with a game by game, but especially when you have an invitational tournament, it's really nice to be chosen by your peers if you're the person to receive the award.
Exactly. So 5:28 remaining, 151-63. And once again, you are watching the Philadelphia Hooligans take on Mohawk Valley Roller Derby. I mean, this is a quite surprising score as these teams are only 1 point away in the rankings. Number 11 for the Hooligans, number 12 for Mohawk Valley, and we did see the number 14 team of MRDA, Golden State Heat, beat both of these teams already. They already played all of their games as well as against Harm City. So they come to the East Coast, go 3-0. They'll go home with some smiles on their face. Philly trying to win one at home now. They are in a very good position to do so at the moment.
Yeah.
But anything can change. Let's be real, though. There's like 5 minutes left.
It's true.
I'm not going to lie to you folks at home.
Yeah, pure honesty.
I mean, mostly. I mean, sometimes I lie, but not intentionally. Okay, yeah, intentionally. I'm just lying there, too.
He fibs. Dang it, champ. But
Yeah.
while we continue to deliberate or wait for everyone to deliberate on this, the officials, I'd like to thank 808 Roller Skate. They are skater-owned, operated, and loved. 808 Roller Skate has been providing gear, instruction, and amusement to roller derby and non-derby skaters alike for almost 10 years. Owned by Hijinks, who has skated all over the world, bringing gear and maintenance wherever he goes. Admiral. 808 Roller Skate strives to provide quality and custom gear to anyone walking through their doors or up to their table. Name brands, expert service, custom builds, and everything else you need for top performance are all found at 808 Roller Skate. Check them out on Facebook or at 808rollerskate.com. Proudly gearing up Penn Jersey for almost 10 years.
All right. Well, it looks like Mohawk Valley was looking for a call on blocking a down skater, but it looks like they will not retain that. It looks like they will not get that call. So, play stands.
All right. And on the game goes. A little bit of space the pack takes away from the jammer line, so the power start for Uncle Dad.
Uncle Dad going down. He's been down for a moment.
Low block. That was assessed to 16-18 Rufo for Mohawk Valley. And Stankus back on the track.
Yeah,
A race 2 wall of Grasso and General Sofine from Betty Switch able to detain Stankus. Lead acquired by Uncle Dad. Ear-to-ear grin on his face.
Uncle Dad sees the other jammer coming, calls it off, plays it safe. Let's see. I think they're going to talk about how many he got because he was on the outside there. Play it safe. You know, better to be accurate than be wrong.
True. And I'm not sure what kind of ambient noise that the broadcast mics pick up.
I have no idea.
The folks in the house are now awake.
Yes.
The Philly fans have rolled out of bed in the house anyway.
Well, it is after what? It is almost 4 o'clock, so.
Oh, geez. It all flies by so quickly. I'm sorry.
They're on West Coast time or something.
My internal clock is apparently incredibly off.
Because we all live in totally different time zones in this, you know, because Cleveland and Massachusetts are in totally different time zones than Philadelphia.
Oh, yeah.
There's probably
So
people home
much.
like, oh, yeah, Cleveland's totally not in that time. Yes, we are East Coast. That's a joke.
We are. You know what it is? It's once you're in a facility, be it a warehouse or whatnot, concept of time goes out the window.
There's definitely people from overseas that don't realize, like, yes, it's far away, but we're still in the same time zone.
Yes, we definitely are. Thanks for that clarification. And Cilantro back with the Jammer Star, snagging lead pretty quickly up against Deb Crush.
Actually, I believe there's 2 teams here that are in different time zones. I believe Nashville Central and Golden State. I'm pretty sure Golden State Pacific.
What about Ontario? I wonder if they're in the same time zone. Oh, okay, they are. They're Eastern Standard Time. I know sometimes it gets a little tricky with Canada, but they're right before the cutoff.
I believe Canadian time and American time are the same conversion rate. I believe. I might be wrong about that.
Atlantic time too. That
there
certain
is,
parts
yes, that is
of
true.
Canada, like New Brunswick.
New Brunswick,
they're
yeah.
on Atlantic time.
I
That's
believe
different.
those are the islands further east. Yes.
Yeah.
Somebody get me a map of Canada. It's
Yes.
a very
Those
large
are-
country.
Those are east because it's straight up the east coast from me.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm aware of that because I'm a Mass.
Because you live there.
Yes.
Cheating. I've actually never been to that part of Canada. I have a lot of Canadian family, but I've never been to that part of Canada.
There. That's
oh,
how
wow.
I know. Yeah, so lead going to Numchuck, and not far behind, Unwired. Pack picking up speed. B-Shares in the penalty box.
Ollie Oxenfree back in the pack.
Yes.
And now Numchuck goes to the pack. Pack picks up a fast 4, calls it off as we're about to hit 2.5 minutes. Now we have to have hit 2.5 minutes. 160 to 63. Hooligans remaining on top.
Smash Ketchum ended up in the penalty box before the end of last jam. So a 3-on-3 pack as far as blockers go.
Yeah, it will be Duke of Hearts and Chapin on the jam line. As you said, Smash Ketchum all alone there in the penalty box. But I'm sorry, he's not all alone. There's B. Shears. Sorry.
Well, now he's all alone.
Yeah,
By himself.
he was just like Drax. He was. There was no movement. I could not see him. He was invisible. Can confirm.
All right. Looks like there's a cutting the track penalty assessed to Chapin. And that means
Power jam.
Power jam with lead to his credit. That's Duke of Hearts.
Inside the pack, looking for room, going up against 2 in front. Nurse Ratchet with the assist, and that's Schuler playing the form of wall to allow Duke of Hearts through for 4 points.
And not only is Chapin in the box, but he's joined by his pivot.
That would be
Defunk.
Defunk in the box.
I always want to say Defunk, like Zabrat's like, get down with the funk. I can't help it.
Duke of Hearts, dodge, dip, dive, duck, and derby. 4 points on the board for the Hooligans. As Defunk is out of the box is currently empty. Chapin handing it off to Defunk. But he is not through the pack yet. And nice hit there by number 161 of Mohawk Valley, or 1618 Rufo with an assist then to finish it off by B. Shears.
Defunk looking determined, going with the shoulder shimmy, hoping to deflect some of that Hooligan defense. Not quite successful as he hoped. 4 points up for Duke of Hearts.
Yeah, he's trying to uptown Defunk them up, but it's not working. I said funk, everyone. It's okay. He's putting on some funky moves there but Nurse Ratchet not falling for it.
Listen, Nurse Ratchet did not fall for his funkadelic ways.
If him and Uncle Dad had a child, it'd be Funkle Dad. Listen, you give me a name like that, I'm just going to have some fun.
Funkle Dad?
I was having a lot of fun and funk on that one.
Okay.
Simon and Garfunkel.
It's a good thing that it's the end of the game because, we got
Oh, it
to
is
that
the end of the
point.
game now. 15 points on the final jam to reach unofficially to be 175 to 63. Hooligans will win it.
In a hard-fought game, perhaps an unexpected outcome.
Yeah, I honestly thought it was going to be a little bit closer, but I think the Hooligans having Nurse Ratchet back was a big deal. And also, as we were talking about in the game yesterday, the Hooligans they have a lot of new skaters this season now coming in that have come up from the Shenanigans, a couple transfers, and we know it takes a couple of games to gel, and we did see that start coming together there in the second half of that Golden State game yesterday. So now we might see a more finished, a more polished product here in this game, which led them to a win against the team ranked only 1 point behind them. Of course, we are going to see a shakeup in the MRDA rankings after the number 14 team beat both the number 11 and 12 team. So these rankings as we speak of right now are only very temporary.
Exactly. And it has been officially confirmed. Our final score, Philadelphia Hooligans 175, Mohawk Valley Roller Derby 63. Congratulations to the Hooligans.
And great job by Mohawk Valley, fighting very hard throughout the entire game. We're going to go ahead and head out here, but we hope you've enjoyed being with us. I'm Champ Unkind.
I'm Beautiful Banshee. Stay tuned for our next game coming up shortly.
And have a decent day.